Hey, real quick before we start the podcast, if you have listened to more than one episode, can you do me a favor and rate and review the show? Now, I'm not big on asking for favors, but we really want to get this podcast listed in the top of all health and fitness podcasts, not just the fitness category. This will take you less than a minute, and if you could do that, that would make us friends forever. And since we refuse all sponsors on the show, this will be my only ask rather than telling you to go check out some supplement or product we don't actually believe in, like every other podcast out there. So please rate and review. Okay, that's it. To the podcast. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Jerred Moon here, and this is the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. Just me today, and I'm going to be answering a common question we get from athletes, people. Maybe you're not that motivated. Maybe you don't want to work out. Maybe you had a busy day. Maybe it's a hard day, and the last thing that you could ever want to do today is work out. Go in your garage, go to the gym, whatever it is. There's, for some reason, you just are not mentally there. You cannot get there. And it's funny because, we talk about this concept of meeting yourself. And that's why we have Meet Yourself Saturday. And the whole point of Meet Yourself Saturday is to be able to interject a little bit more of your conscious self into internal chatter in your brain. So if your brain is saying it doesn't want to do something, or if your brain is not in the mood for something, doesn't want to push harder in a workout, doesn't want to do the workout, meeting yourself is being able to throw in just enough of saying, I'm going to do this, or reframing the conversation, or it's not that bad, or I can push harder, or I want to. But there's sometimes where you're developing the skill, you're not great at it, and there's nothing getting through. There is like a mental wall, a mental barrier. You can't tell yourself anything that you will believe or do. And if you're as stubborn as I am, it's a real thing. Like there is no like getting amped up and motivated when you are just at the bottom of the barrel and don't feel like doing something. And so I've had this conversation a lot with athletes, help people work through it. I've done it a lot myself, so much so that I really feel like this is a skill that you develop, and you won't run into the problem as much after you develop the skill a little bit more. So I have 3 ways in which I have utilized and that you can utilize to kind of break through this wall when you're just not feeling motivated to train. You don't want to work out. You don't want to step into the gym. And you could use these tips for really anything. It's not just fitness. But if you are struggling with that, here we go. The first one is some sort of a state change. So normally, if you are having a hard day at work or hard, relationship, whatever the case might be for you, then there's just this mental capacity issue that you're struggling with, and you're going to need to get out of that. You need to get out of this current state. And so you don't have to just change your location, but you actually need to change your mental state. And it's kind of funny like the ways that we can do this. So a really effective one is music. If you like music, like if you don't like music, you're not really that into it, then I wouldn't worry about it. But music with actual like however you get into that, if you dance or like whatever, like really if it's a head bob, whatever it is for you, but it's got to be like music that doesn't just get you motivated or pumped up, but it's music that kind of resonates with you. Maybe music from your past, maybe music from a certain time period in your life. Try listening to that. Listen to it very loudly, whether this is in your car by yourself, headphones on, whatever. Listen to it loudly and see if that will help you change your state. Another thing that you can do, big in the fitness industry, cold or hot exposure. If you can, push yourself to doing one of those things. I feel like the heat exposure is a little bit harder to do because if you have a hot environment outside, yeah, sure, you could go do that. Sauna, you'd have to wait for it to get hot, and we're looking for something that's kind of immediate. So another way for immediate state change, I think, is the best, is just a cold shower, turning on the cold water, immediately hopping in. But if you're having a real bad day, mental day, you can't push yourself to do much, maybe you won't even be able to push yourself to do that. Most of the time, you can execute the music the music side of this, right? Like I think at a minimum, you should be able to do that to change your state. And that's kind of the first approach here. So changing your state, get some music going, start moving the body to some degree, and try cold or hot exposure um, to the best of your ability. That's the first way. That might work. To be honest, it might not work at all. Maybe you can't even convince yourself to do those things if you're having a really bad day. The next one would be immediate action. So if I'm ever having a thought like that, you've probably heard people on the podcast talk about this. We've talked about this of just convincing yourself to do the warm up. If you can do that, if you can convince yourself to do a warm up, I think that's a really solid strategy. But say you can't even get there. If you're like, you know what, I don't want to train, I just don't want to, immediately, the first second that thought hits your brain, like you have that thought, you hit the floor and you do a max set of push-ups. No excuses. Now, this is one that you should be able to do because the first round I gave you, there's a little bit of setup. You have to select the music, headphones, whatever, cold or hot. It's either getting in a shower or exposing yourself to hot. A state change can be a little bit harder to achieve, but when it comes to this one, you have this immediate action and max set of push-ups right away. And as soon as you're fatigued and you're tired, you can't do any more push-ups, rest just for 1 minute, maybe 2, and then do it again. It's almost like putting yourself into submission. And it might sound crazy, but these are the things it takes to truly master discipline and master yourself a little bit more. You have to force yourself to do things that you don't want. And so if it's as small as doing max set of push-ups a couple times, I'm not saying that one 100% is going to get you to the workout. Now, it might be just enough of a spark to be like, help you realize that you're being ridiculous and that you should go do a workout. Like it might be enough of that spark. And for most of you it will be. But if it's not, hey, maybe you did a couple hundred push-ups, in 10, 15 minutes. And we're going to call that good for the day anyway, because having really bad days should be, few and far between. So maybe you just call a bunch of push-ups your workout for the day. But I think that that's one that anyone can do right away, immediate, max set of push-ups. And then when you get up from those, see if you are willing to, go into the gym now and take that step. And now the third one, we're going to get a little bit more, I don't want to say philosophical, but mental. We're going to go a little bit deeper on number 3. What's up, guys? Did you know that I wrote a book? Kind of crazy that it's out there and I almost never talk about it. The book is called Killing Comfort. And what you may not know is that I just lowered the price of the book to the lowest allowable level on Amazon. And you might be asking, why would I do such a thing? And the answer is because I want to put my money where my mouth is and prove I am here to help as many people as I possibly can. And I won't have the price of the book stand in the way. It's also on Audible if you want to hear me read it, but I can't actually adjust the price there. It's automatically set by Amazon on that platform. Either way, you can go to Amazon or killingcomfort.com and get the book at its lowest possible price. If you like the book, I'd love a positive review and 5-star rating if you see fit on Amazon. Leaving your review is a great way to help us help more people. All right, back to the show. So for the third one, I really just want you to ask yourself one question. If you're headed down the path of not training today, not working out, I want you to ask yourself if you deserve it. Do you deserve to not work out? And I think the approach or the answer to this question might be different than what you think. You need to ask yourself some bigger questions there too. Do you deserve to be worse off than you are today? Do you deserve to not be as healthy? Do you deserve to give your family a lesser version of yourself? Is that what you deserve? Is that what they deserve? Because I'm not actually asking, hey, have you put in enough training sessions so you deserve a day off? I'm asking if you think you deserve the worst version of yourself, the path you're headed down. Especially if this becomes a habit, is that what you deserve? Do you deserve to be a worse version of yourself. In the book, Thinking Time, or The Road Less Stupid is the actual name of the book. He has a quote in there, and he said, "Hell on earth would be to meet the person you could have been." And I think that quote alone is one that I think about all the time. Because if you view yourself on a trajectory, and the actions you take every day either keep you on that trajectory upwards, or they start to lower your trajectory downwards, well, there's this other, let's say, gray line that is the version of yourself that you could be. And it's not necessarily the perfect version, because there is no perfect version of you, right? But there is a version of you that could easily say yes today. And that trajectory is going to keep going up. There's the person of you that's going to be consistent for a month, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, decades, right? There's that version. Then there's the version of you who doesn't want this, who wants to complain, who wants to skip, who doesn't want to do it, and is okay with making that decision all too frequently. So what do you deserve? Who do you deserve to be? Do you deserve to be the person that's close to that upward trend line, the trajectory upwards, the person you could be? Or do you deserve the break and the trajectory downwards as things start to unfoil, the wheels start to fall off? You probably don't deserve that. Okay. So get in there, get the training done. But that's it as far as tips. Try a state change, however you can get it done. Immediately start something. Violent action is number 2 there. Get the push-ups done. Do some squats. It doesn't actually matter the activity, but the second you would just see that mental weakness, attack it. Violently attack it. And then lastly, ask yourself what you actually deserve. Who do you deserve to be? What does your family deserve? Which version of yourself should they get today? The worst version of you or the better version of you? But that's it, guys. Remember, if you don't kill comfort, comfort will kill you. Thanks for listening to the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. If you want to learn more, go to garagegymathlete.com. You can learn about our training. Let us send you a copy of our book, The Garage Gym Athlete, or you can even get featured on the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. Thanks for listening.